Part 2, here we go. This is part 2 of the alert view, and we're going to be going through inserting the programming behind the scenes for what we want to display this alert view. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a button on the alert view controller. And that's basically going to send the message to our UIAlertView method saying, hey, display me now. So that's what we're going to do is take a button, throw it anywhere on the screen, and then we're just going to give it a quick title of display alert. Once you get that finished, you gotta think back to the previous tutorial where we added the navigation controller, but there was no class associated to that view controller, and so we couldn't put any source code or any programming behind the scenes for that view controller unless there's a class associated. So again, I'll show you. Go to your view controller and go to the identity up at the top, and you'll see that we don't have any class associated to this specific view controller, and so we can't even display an alert without this class being there. So let's go ahead and insert another class. So you can right click over the left where your files are at and put in a new file, or you can just go file, new files, so on and so forth. But then we're going to go to the UI view controller subclass, and we're going to say, hey, develop this class for us so we can associate it to our view controller. We're just going to call this the alert class. You can spell it whatever, you can have it any name. Just make sure you capitalize the first letter, and then if you're going to do anything else, make sure you capitalize any other new words that you put in there. Just kind of so you can see where it is later. Alright, we're going to make sure that we're a subclass of the UI view controller because we are a view controller and not table view or any other instances of view controllers. We're going to make sure we're targeted for the iPad. We're going to leave off the XIB for the interface because the storyboard holds that all for us. So go ahead and create your class and save it within whatever folder you'd like there. Make sure it's within your project there, of course. And so off to the left, you'll see that we have our header file and our implementation file that is generated over to the left. Now what we're going to do is go back to the storyboard, and once you have the view controller specified or clicked, we're going to associate that class with this particular view controller. So we're going to type in alert, and now we've synchronized the two. So now any code that we put in the alert class, it's going to be associated to this view controller here. So now we're going to open up the assistant editor here, and we're going to link up this button here. And as you can see, the assistant editor pulled up what we used last, and we don't want to hook up our button to the second view controller. We want to hook it up to the alert view controller that is associated with our view controller. So now go over, select your button, hold control, drag and drop over in the header file there, and instead of this being an outlet, this is going to be an action, and this is basically what is going to show our alert. So we can just put show alert as our button action there, and as far as these default settings down here, those are going to be fine for our particular needs here. So go ahead and connect it, and so now we've got that within the .h or the header file. The next thing that we have to do is we have to go into the implementation, the alert.m, and we basically have to write what that alert's going to do once it's clicked. And so if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see that the IB action show alert that we just established in our header file has now appeared at the bottom. And this is where we're gonna write our alert view. We're gonna tell once the button's been clicked or this action has been taken place, we want our alert view to show up. So we're gonna start with going alert UI alert view, and then we're gonna name this just alert, and then we're gonna allocate alloc, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go init with title. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the standalone editor, go over my alert.m so we can take up the whole screen here, and then scroll down to the bottom where we've got this established. And so as you can see, by putting init with title, it provides us with all these different options here. We've got 100 different options we could do here. So let's go through each one. So the title is going to be the box that pops up and what it says as the title. So where we're going to put this string is just what's up. And then you can see that the next one here is going to be our message. And I'm going to go ahead and return after that just so we can break them apart for further reference here. So now the message is going to be what it says within the text box. So we're going to put in here, we got your back on learning. Alright, and again it's a string, so we have to start it off with the @ symbol, and provided that it's in quotations, so it recognizes that string as well. And hold on, it looks like there we go. For some reason I dragged the got over here and that wasn't right. Anyways, the next line is the delegate, so we're going to hit return and line those up. And the delegates we're not going to use in this case, but let's just say if we had an action that we wanted to result out of this alert, we would establish this delegate. It's a little bit further ahead of where we are with the tutorials, but for this we're just going to put nil because we don't want any actions coming out of the delegate at this point. Alright, so the next one we've got a cancel button title, and this is going to be just what it says. It's basically cancel button is going to be, okay, a button on screen. What do we want it to say to cancel the alert view? And so we can prompt the user by saying something like, you know, okay, and so when they click OK, the alert disappears. And so that basically just prompts them, gives them an option to get rid of the alert view once they've read the alert. Then we follow it up with other button titles, and in this case we're just going to delete these out, and we'll go into this a little bit further later. And so basically just have nil for now, which is going to signify that there's going to be no other buttons on screen. So now go ahead and finish out your square bracket, add a semicolon to the end, and there's one last thing that we have to do, and that is going to be we have to tell this method that we want something to display. And so in this case we want our alert to show, and we're going to put this in square brackets and finish it off with the semicolon there. Alright, so it looks like we've got a few errors here, and we're just going to click and see. It looks like expected something or other, and here, oh, okay, so we forgot an equals sign here, which should resolve all those, because basically it was thinking we were establishing an array or something like that, and really we just forgot the equals sign there. So my bad on that. But anyways, once you've got all this code in line, we should be good to go as far as clicking the button, seeing if the display works. So go ahead and run your application and we'll test it out. Alright, so we'll click the third tab here, go to the alert view, and now we'll click the button, and there we go. We've got a title that says what up, and then it says our message, we got your back on learning, and then we've got the cancel button, which is just set to OK, which the user can click, and the display disappears. So hopefully that helps with the display alert view. In the next tutorial we'll go through some of the additional things you can do with the alert view and make your application applicable for whatever you guys are doing out there. Alright, we'll catch you guys in the next tutorial.